Tonight, a Paul's Ego two-parter for all of you famished folks. First, we take another look at some of the weirdest, coolest, and most iconic sound effects in film and how they were made. Then we have a special, secret mystery episode. An episode that at least one member of our cast is sure to be very excited about. So kick back, relax, and enjoy this snappy episode of Deep Fat Fried.
What's the second part going to be, Paul?
Oh, you'll see. We'll talk about it when we get there, TJ. I mean, can't we have a little mystery in the world anymore? Does everything got to be fucking all in the face and told before it's told? You know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
A little suspense.
You, dude. Ah, the French champagne for Paul Masson. We've already told you, dude.
That makes sense.
All the clues are there, TJ. All the clues are there, man.
The truth will be revealed, TJ.
You don't deserve to know yet.
You're all insane, is what it really boils down to. You're all fucking insane.
That is true.
Episode, TJ, years in the making. Years in the making.
Decades.
Years in the making, you piece of garbage. Hate you so much, Scotty. I know that whatever Paul's done is only because you put him up to it.
What?
Yeah.
Scotty didn't even know what was going on until I asked him if he would run the second part of this episode for me today.
I think this is an episode that you brought on yourself. That's all I have to say.
He did.
No.
So let's talk about the lightsaber. This will be the first of our sound effects that we're going to talk about. Very iconic sound effect. I got it here pulled for us so we can listen to it. So when we're talking about the lightsaber sound, we're not necessarily talking about all of the clashes and stuff. We're talking about the lightsaber hum.
Yeah, the resting sort of
right.
Yeah.
Which actually does change. Well, not only the hum, but the sound of it coming out as well, which changes depending on whether you're working with a Sith kyber crystal or a light side one. The Sith one has a sharper noise, and the light side one has a more of a thrum to it when they start up.
Huh. I never noticed that. I will pay attention to that.
It's way more noticeable in the later films. It's not as noticeable in the first three.
Okay.
But so I don't expect you guys to get it, but listening to that resting lightsaber sound, can you guess what you think might be behind it?
It kind of sounds like a plane, like a propeller.
Yeah, I was thinking it sounded like a helicopter recorded from a distance, maybe.
Both respectable guesses. But I didn't really expect you guys to get this one. But you both were right that it is the sound of motors. In this instance, the sound of two simplex movie projector machines harmonizing with one another. I've got a picture, I think, of one of these.
Okay.
This is
there's no way.
This is the style of, well, I mean, it's an old style 1930s and 40s movie projector.
Right.
And they have a very particular sound. And when they are put in the same room, as often they were in old movie theaters to project different movies into different theaters, because of the different spool sizes, they can make a harmonic sound if they're running at the same time. So it was designed by sound designer Ben Burt as a combination of the hum of idling interlock motors and the hum caused by a television set with a shieldless microphone. So I think I pulled a sound of one of these simplex machines running.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
So you can get an idea. So that if you want to pause it there, TJ, that's the motor there. And so two of these motors running side by side can create like a harmonic note. They'll harmonize, like one will be at one tone and another will be at another tone. And then of course the hum of a CRT, an old CRT television, like a tube television.
You know, it's weird. It's kind of weird to me that my ear could kind of like pick up that there was like a rotation noise in there though.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking like when I was really listening to it, I'm thinking like helicopter blades. Like, I think it's because it has that same sort of like warbly up and down quality to it.
Yeah.
You guys both picked up that it was a motor of some kind.
Yeah.
Scotty said an airplane. You said a helicopter, but yeah, interesting little kind of genesis for one of the most iconic sound effects
I
of all
never
time.
in a million years would have guessed this fucking
Man,
thing.
these sound designers, I mean, they come with some crazy shit. I mean, the lightsaber
Well, I
sound
mean,
has always been
they're in an
super
industry
iconic.
where they would have been exposed to a lot more easily to something like
well, yeah.
so, you know.
But to come up with that sound, just, I mean,
Yeah,
harmonize two machines and at the hum of a CRT television.
I imagine that's got to be the coolest part of like sound design is trying to conceive of a noise that no one's ever heard before. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like trying to like figure out some way to create a sound that sounds completely alien to an audience.
And when you think about it, it's a big part of Star Wars because people talk about, they go, whoosh, whoosh. I mean, like people make the sound effects and the noises. I mean, like obviously Paul's, just talk about the hum, but just this lightsaber itself is such an iconic part of the film, and just the noise it makes is
I think
integral to the film.
Everyone I've ever known has done at some point that fucking some imitation of that sound. Like,
Yep. I mean, definitely one of the most iconic sound effects.
If you're like a kid or something, you do that all the time.
Yeah. The next one deals with a very iconic sound effect in its own right. We have all heard this sound effect used multiple times over the course of multiple movies. This here is a water phone, and as soon as you hear it, now you guys obviously can't guess this thing, but as soon as you hear it being played, you will know that you've heard it a million times before in film. So go ahead and play it for us, TJ.
Yeah.
Just wait.
I mean, I already, yeah.
A lot of suspense films.
So this sound effect is in a ton of fucking films. A lot of them horror films. So I'll give you guys a list. But first, let's talk about what this thing is. It's called a water phone.
Cool is what it is. It's fucking pretty dope.
It's called a water phone, and it's used for creepy background kind of ambient shit and kind of things that punctuate frightening moments. And
it's got like a really ethereal, otherworldly sort of feel to it, where it sounds unlike something you would hear in nature, kind of, but
almost
also
whale sound like, though.
Yeah.
A little bit ominous and shit.
But then it has that ability to be really sharp. Like,
yeah.
So
it like screeches but sustains a note, and every note that it can sustain is kind of like not necessarily unpleasant to the ear, but like kind of creepy. Right.
So it's called a waterphone. It's an inharmonic acoustic percussion instrument. It consists of a stainless steel resonator with a cylindrical neck and bronze rods of different lengths and diameters around the rim of the bowl. So you can see it's capable of doing a lot of different sounds. You can imagine this has been in tons of movies. I've got a partial list here of movies that I thought we at least have all maybe seen. The waterphone was used in Poltergeist.
Yeah, that was one of the first ones.
Oh shit! Yeah. That's so true.
Let the right one in. The Matrix, Star Trek.
I don't remember exactly where it was used there, but yeah, that the space kind of feel like
Star Trek, the motion picture, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and of course Aliens. I actually pulled an example from the Matrix of this sound being used. This, of course, a very iconic scene. So there it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's cool.
And it's used. Go ahead.
Was this used in Ghostbusters? I kept thinking Ghostbusters when I was listening to it.
I didn't find a full list of movies that the waterphone was used in. The waterphone Wikipedia article is actually pretty messy. A lot of it is like citation needed, citation needed, citation needed, and I couldn't find a complete list of waterphone films, but. You know that you've heard it. Now that you've heard the instrument being played, you know that you've heard it a billion times in movies.
Oh, yeah.
And I thought that was really cool. I never knew about the waterphone or how those sounds were made. I always thought that it was some kind of digital effect or wind chime or some shit that they were using. So,
yeah, I guess I always kind of just assumed it was some kind of weird digital noise as well. Yep. Like, I didn't actually think about an instrument that was producing all those sounds.
Pretty crazy. What about one of Scotty's favorite films? I know one of mine as well, and definitely an iconic sound. What about the Balrog? We can listen a little bit to some Balrog here.
You, the flame of Arnor, shall not dark fire will not avail you. Flame of Udun.
So you hear the noises that it makes, not only when it screeches or yells, but when it moves.
Yeah. It kind of sounds like big stones being ground against each other.
Yeah, it does.
A good guess. Very close. So sound designer David Farmer created the deep drones for the Balrog for the Fellowship of the Ring by recording the sounds of a cinder block being dragged on a wooden floor.
Bigger than that to me. I kind of thought that maybe they were capturing isolating noises from rock slides or something, because it really does sound that huge.
Well, it just shows you how cool Foley is, because it would probably be way better to just drag a cinder block across the floor and enhance that sound than to try and record a rock slide, Yeah,
of course.
Foley is awesome. So he wanted to give the audience the feeling that this monster was trapped underground for centuries before Frodo and the Fellowship accidentally unearth it, which is true. And it's a little nuance that he wove in. There's a reason that it sounds like rocks grinding against one another when it's moving. He wanted to give people the impression that it was something from deep in the earth.
One of the coolest things about film to me is that you get to this level of production. Now, obviously, very few films are made on the level of production that Lord of the Rings was.
Right.
But if you get to this level of production, there's so much artistry that goes into every single fucking aspect of the thing,
Yep.
And you're just like this guy who's just given this task, hey, you need to figure out what sound something like this makes, and having to think about what sort of feeling I want to evoke in the audience in this moment in terms of the sound. Because, the Balrog sounds different. The whole fucking vibe of the thing is different,
True.
It's like if the T-Rex from Jurassic Park doesn't have that iconic roar. Yeah, he's still going to look cool. It's going to be a cool special effect. But, he made wow! You'd be like, what the fuck?
It's important stuff, but it's also stuff like that's designed to go almost unnoted or unremarked by the audience. It's
Right,
supposed
and
to
I mean,
be
that's
part of the ambiance. You know what I mean?
It's like all this artistry and shit kind of just melds into one thing, you know, so people don't kind of see the constituent parts and like think like, wow, this person did a good job. Wow, this person did a good job. You know?
But then you have to consider too, if you don't have that, then it totally changes the film. It's like if a door opens and there's no noise, you're gonna be like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Why does that door make no noise?
I've seen plenty of films. I mean, as a result of watching a whole lot of schlock, I've seen a lot of films with terrible sound design. I can tell you, it makes a fucking difference for sure.
So when it comes to the Balrog's scream, he used donkeys and horses for the bellows, along with his collection of what he calls pain sounds. So just various human agony sounds, and kind of blends those together for the big scream.
Scream here, I think. There we go.
So that was just heavily distorted, and he combined it, of course, with the dragging rock or the dragging cinder block on the wooden floor sound. So yeah, donkeys, horses, and human agony. Pretty cool.
How far am I from this fucking Gandalf beard at this point? Still got a ways to go.
Yeah, you got quite a ways to go, especially on the mustache game has got to be on point for a Gandalf beard. You can't have the short trimmed mustache. You got to have the long wispy mustache that folds into the beard.
Your Balrog game too, that's pretty far off.
And I can't even get a fucking full picture of this beard. It's that fucking big.
It's too big.
They can't even fit that.
They can't fit it because it's down below. He tucks it into his belt.
I know, he's crazy motherfucker.
You know what I mean? You can't.
Gandalf looks fucking depressed as shit there. He's just like, man, life is fucking garbage.
It's because he knows that they're all about to fucking die. This next one is kind of a quick blurb, but I thought it was cool enough to show and mention. I had a hard time finding a fight scene from the movie that I thought wouldn't get us immediately flagged, even if we, but the Fight Club punch sound is apparently kind of unique amongst films. I found out when I was reading about it that typically when there's punch sounds in films, the same sound effect is used over and over again, modulated for pitch.
I gotta say, even as a kid, I hated movie punch sound effects.
Yeah.
They always go with this like way miles over the top stuff that just I've never fucking heard a punch sound like that.
Yep.
Where it's like this gigantic. I get it. It's supposed to be like to exaggerate it and make it seem way harder of a hit and really fucking.
Of course. Yeah.
I just always felt like it's way over the top because there's like someone gets punched and it's like, whoosh,
Yeah, you don't hear that.
Yep.
Yeah,
it's like I don't know. I've seen like boxing matches and shit.
UFC fights. Yeah, you don't ever hear like it's very rare to hear a crack.
Shit. I never hear that fucking sound like they do in the fucking movies.
That's a rare thing when you actually see a real fight and hear like someone get cracked, or you get you're like, oh, everyone goes, oh my god. So that's like a super rare thing. Most people fighting, it's more the grunts and groans, like you're hearing more of that than you hear.
But I gotta say, I don't really remember what the sounds in Fight Club sound like. But
well, if you rewatch it in the future, make sure that you listen to the punch sounds in it because of David Fincher, who directed Fight Club, was apparently very, particular about these punch sounds because they're described by Chuck Palahniuk in the original book that this is based on very brutally and very descriptively. And Fincher really wanted to capture that. So rather than using a stock punch effect like most movies do, he had tons of things that he worked with for different punches. And so he would they would shatter chicken carcasses with baseball bats. They would stuff them with walnuts sometimes and use the baseball bat to not only bust up the chicken, but crack the walnuts inside of the chicken.
Yeah, that's going to be an insane crack.
Mm-hmm.
They would smack around slabs of meat using pig's feet and the legs of different animals to hit the meat. So anyway, the guy that did this said that his punch library became quite extensive as a result of it. So the guy's name is Ren Kleiss, and he says, my punch library has become quite extensive. When you hear the punches in a film like Rocky, they usually just use one punch over and over again. It's very muddy and dark and kind of boxy sounding. David Fincher, however, was much harder to please. Next time you watch that movie, take a listen to the punch sound effects, because a lot of chicken carcasses stuffed with walnuts got hit with baseball bats for your pleasure for that.
Sweet.
Hey, it worked. It's
Yeah.
a good movie.
Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Another iconic sound effect that I'm sure you'll both remember, the T2 Skull Crush.
Nightmare. The war against the machines.
That is a cool sound.
So,
yeah,
Yeah,
what
one
do
more
you
time.
guys think?
New nightmare.
let's hear it.
The war against the machines.
I mean,
Something crunching, clearly.
it sounds like at first it sounds like a vase or something, like a piece of pottery being.
Yeah, like a ceramic being
But
crushed.
then there's
yeah.
like another sound that comes in under that. I feel like,
Play it one more time, TJ.
yeah,
The war against the machines.
it's like a.
Yeah, there's like something after it. I just don't know what the fuck it is. That's why this is so difficult. I definitely hear something being like smashed, but also like it's like something's being crunched up at the same time. So it's like something's being smashed with something in it.
You're right in identifying the kind of different things, the constituent elements. So you want to take a stab at what it might be? You said a vase there, TJ, maybe filled with something.
It's kind of like maybe like a.
It sounds like a pot. It's something ceramic being
like
crushed.
a clay pot or something being like smashed somehow.
So
Not
this
Keep it one more
is
time, TJ.
I don't
this
know what they
is
would.
a pistachio nut being crushed against a thin metal plate.
Weird.
I knew it had
Yeah.
to be something like that. I couldn't figure out what it was. I almost want to say marbles before, but no, it makes sense to nut.
Yeah, a pistachio nut. Actually, if you want to roll it back one more time, the wind noises in the background of this scene are actually.
New nightmare. The
You hear
war
'em there?
against the machines.
Yeah.
This was just recorded at Skywalker Ranch. It was just like George Lucas opened up his back door at Skywalker Ranch and recorded the wind noises for this. It was mixed with a slight human vocal element, but there you go.
It still
That's
works.
Just fucking open the door. We need some wind. All right.
Well, that's
All right,
in
we
like,
got it.
that's in like Central and Northern California, isn't it? So it's pretty windy up there, is my understanding.
I would imagine so, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of mountainous. So
So, yeah, there you go. That's the Skull Crush there. Thought that was an
Yeah,
interesting one.
I never would have thought it would be something that small, honestly.
This next one is not necessarily a movie sound effect. You can start this one at the beginning if you want.
Start at the beginning. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why it's fucking. I must have fucked things up last night when I was pulling.
it almost sounds like an organ or a piano, like holding a note. That sounds like it's part of it.
This is this one. It's not really guessable. It's actually 20,000 lines of code. An audio engineer named James A. Moore wrote over 20,000 lines of computer code to generate the effect of 30 different musicians picking a random note and slowly moving a target note that forms one giant chord, all while getting louder over time. So yeah, very complex sound effect, and one that's still used to this day in movie theaters. It does appear in movies. It's referenced in films and parodied in films.
Oh, it's super famous, dude. 'Cause
But
it's like
not necessarily a movie sound effect, I guess. But Definitely one that a lot of people associate with film.
If you went to a theater and like a nice theater, this is kind of like the Testament. It's like THX certified sound, and then of course they play the huge, and you're like, okay, yeah.
So this is actually called.
Theater, you hear that?
Yeah, this is called the Deep Note.
The Deep Note,
or the THX Deep Note. And yeah, just kind of interesting. Just a big computer program that simulated a bunch of musicians picking a random note and then all landing on the same note while still, getting louder and more bassy. So this one is a testament to just like fucking total. And I thankfully I did timestamp this one correctly.
Yay!
This one is a testament to Peter Jackson and the team that worked on the Lord of the Rings films' commitment to authenticity. So let's listen to the Uruk-hai chant here.
Okay.
So you hear it there. So the Uruk-hai chant, now usually when they need a chant in a movie, what they'll do is they'll get a room full of people, like 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 people, and have them do the chant. And then they will digitally double or triple or quadruple or quintuple or they'll just repeat endlessly that chant. Peter Jackson wasn't kind of content with that in this. And so he literally went to a cricket match in New Zealand with over 25,000 people in attendance. And at halftime, he walked out onto the field and coached the audience how to chant in black speech, which is what the orc, that's what the orc language is called, black speech. And he taught them all these Goosnag Rakhla. And then he'd have this fired up group of fucking cricket fans, 25,000 people, all scream it at the top of their lungs and chant it over and over again in the audience. And
so that means, you know what that means? That means that somewhere in the din of that is get off the field, you fat cunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
Someone definitely yelled that.
Of course they did. Of course they did.
I know, Grishnock from block. Fuck that shit. Get off the field, you fat cunt. I don't know if that's how New Zealand people talk. I don't know.
Something like that. It's close enough.
Close enough. New Zealand doesn't matter.
No, they don't.
Shit. Fuck you, New Zealand.
But I thought that was pretty cool. Fuck. He was not content with faking this one. So he got 25,000 people to do it.
Yeah, that's what you got to do. Commitment to authenticity, man.
It's an awesome sound of. I mean, the sonic landscape of the Siege of Helm's Deep in general is just so fucking amazingly well done. That it's one of the things that goes so underappreciated in the Lord of the Rings films is the sound design is just fucking.
Oh, dude, I was getting sucked in. I was like, let's see what happens. I mean, I already know what happens.
Yeah, I know. I just want to watch the scene.
I know. It's like, fuck. Let's put the episode on pause for like 15 minutes. We'll be back.
So let's end our little look at sound effects by looking at some overused and abused sound effects. This is known as the Diddy laugh. It first appeared during this opening sequence for Diddy Kong Racing on the N64. Let's give it a listen. Not this one. Not that one, but keep going. That one.
The laughter of children.
So once you've heard this, you'll never be able to unhear it. Anytime that there are children running around in a scene and giggling in the background, it's for a long time been the Diddy laugh. It first appeared, like I said, in the opening sequence of the N64 game Diddy Kong Racing. The Diddy laugh refers to the stock sound effect commonly used for children's laughter. There's even a website dedicated to cataloging every instance of the Diddy laugh if you want to ruin every film. I pulled a couple of one example of the Diddy laugh being used. This is in Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So you'll catch it immediately. Well, not there. Oh wait, no wait. This is this is cool. This is we can watch this because this is a Diddy laugh compilation.
Now how are we gonna put it back in?
You can't die here. That's the gimmick.
Day by day.
It's like 3 minutes of this shit.
Yeah, I mean it goes on and on. It's literally been
In everything.
Since Diddy Kong Racing came out, it's in everything. Anytime there's children giggling in a movie that's come out since like whatever that was, 94 or 93, it's just the Diddy laugh. So I just wanted to ruin films for you because now you will hear it every time that there are children running around in a film and having fun. You'll hear the Diddy laugh. So everybody knows about the Wilhelm scream, and I didn't want to cover that one.
That was like the whole it's like hard to do, but
I pulled it so we could hear it. So I think the next video is actually the Wilhelm scream.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And this is actually a compilation of the Wilhelm scream being used.
I'll just fill my pipe.
This scream always takes me out of shit because
Oh my god.
That's 3 times in one movie, by the way, that the Wilhelm scream is moved. There it is in Star Wars. Kind of in the background there. But anyway, we'll probably get in trouble for showing this one too. But as you can see, it's in fucking everything.
it's all over the fucking place.
But do you know about the Wilhelm scream's younger brother, the Howie scream?
No.
Now you will. And once you've heard it,
I just watched this the other day, like 2 or 3 days ago.
Well, you've heard the Howie scream then. Leave it where it is. Don't go fucking searching around. It was a time-stamped fucking link, TJ. God damn it. You
Fine.
God damn it, TJ.
Fine. Error.
You just fucking
Error.
Error.
You moved it all around and now it's going to show way more of the fucking scene than it needs to.
All right, whatever. It's
TJ
26 seconds in.
has
You're
committed another error.
Yeah, right here is where it needs to be.
Error, TJ.
Or maybe right before this, because this looks like it's right after the fucking. God damn it, TJ.
He ain't fell yet, motherfucker. Look.
Fuck, TJ.
There it is. So do you hear it? This is in everything. This scream. Go ahead and listen to it again if you want. The way it ramps up all hard, that this is a stock scream effect. It's called the Howie scream because Howie Long dies in the John Woo film Broken Arrow and makes this scream. And since Broken Arrow, this has been used in almost every goddamn fucking movie where somebody screams. It's like the Wilhelm scream for people who don't want to use the Wilhelm scream. So now that you've heard it, you'll probably hear it fucking everywhere. It is in, let's see, Howie scream is in Captain America, The First Avenger, Tropic Thunder, Face Off, the intro to Real Monsters. But what about this sound effect? You can go and play the next one, TJ. This is the eagle call.
Yep, the eagle. Yep. Check your hawk.
Yep, it's a red-tailed hawk. Eagles are, they don't sound like this at all. So anytime you hear an eagle in a movie, you're actually hearing the screech of a red-tailed hawk. A lot of people don't know that. Eagles actually sound kind of cute. They've got like a cuter, they don't screech and scream. So the Colbert Report, they used to have that eagle come out and they used a red-tailed hawk screech for it. I think he was quoted as saying like, yeah, we wanted to use an actual bald eagle scream, but they sounded too cute. So we went the red-tailed hawk. But yeah, this is used anytime that you hear an eagle call in a movie, which a lot of schlock movies and fantasy movies have eagles in them.
You know that? You're like, okay,
Anytime
it's the eagle.
You've heard it a million times, and anytime that you hear that, you are hearing the screech of a hawk, a red-tailed hawk in particular.
Stupid fucking hawk.
Yeah, it's one of the few ones I knew. Because this is like a today I learned thing. I think one time I was like, oh, it's a hawk. It's not even a fucking eagle.
Yep. That, if you want to unshare your screen there, TJ, that concludes part 1 of this show. And I guess, because we have editors now, we could all take a little break, TJ, if you wanted to prepare yourself. I know that you're chomping at the bit to know. Do you want to take a break, TJ, or do you want to move?
Just fucking go. Let's do it. Do this.
Tiny little hammer goes tap, tap, tap.
No, it doesn't.
Hope
it doesn't.
That the bone just doesn't snap.
I don't even care. Whatever.
Tiny little hammer goes.
Stop with this hammer song, man. I don't fucking like
Tap,
that.
tap, tap.
I'm just gonna not even click on watch stream. Fuck this. I don't even want it.
Oh, you have to, TJ.
Ugh. Hey, don't even fuck around with that. What is that? That's not good.
Let's talk about the collarbone, an interesting part of human biology. I love human biology, and I'd like to do a series of episodes about different parts of the human body. And the collarbone is an interesting little bone, a very,
a
very delicate little bone. It's very, very delicate. So it's. Do you know what the name of the collarbone is, TJ? Like the actual scientific name?
Oh, collarus bonus.
It's the clavicle. It's known as your clavicle here, TJ.
Clavicle.
You've earned every second of this, TJ. Every second of this episode you've earned.
Oh, here it is.
So this is the clavicle, known colloquially as the collarbone. It's one of the most important bones in your body, TJ.
Yeah.
It's about 6 inches long in most people. It's an S-curved bone, as you can see here, that connects the arm to the body. So very important little piece of human substructure here. Located directly above your first rib. So if you feel your collarbone right below that is your first rib. Oh, man, I pressed too hard on that collarbone. I'm sorry, TJ. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Oh, sorry, guys. Oof.
Yeah.
They're very delicate. You have to handle them.
Baby, man.
TJ looks like he's gonna crawl out of his skin, and we're not even 5 minutes into this episode.
Oh, she look right there, man. Need that. If I don't have that collarbone, what the fuck am I even doing this, TJ?
Oh man, you better not stretch that collarbone too much, Scotty. Oh God, be very careful with what you're doing with that collarbone. So several muscles that attach to the clavicle are the deltoid, trapezius, and pectoral muscles. Those are all through here. Your upper chest muscles all connect to that. The deltoid muscles are the muscles body's line of defense against dislocation of the shoulder. That's what it's there for. What do you think about that, TJ?
Very interesting.
Yeah. So if these are like the rebar, the pectoral muscles are like the concrete that holds your arm on, right? So without your clavicle and your pecs, your arms would just be
flopping in the
wind. You know what I mean? And so that little bone there that keeps your arms strong. You can thank your collarbones for allowing you to play catch. And I know that you, TJ, have enjoyed doing this with your brothers, arm wrestling. The collarbone is intensely responsible for arm wrestling. Every time you arm wrestle, that collarbone is it's like the locus of so much pressure that...
I don't feel TJ.
You okay there, TJ? Is it a little chilly in the room?
Yeah, it's a little cold.
You got a little...
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
But this TJ.
I almost feel bad for doing this. Like TJ is so uncomfortable. But and then I remember all the times that TJ forced me to watch horrifying fucking shit, and I feel less bad and feel better about myself. Playing catch, you need your clavicle to do that. Or to throw anything, you know, anytime you do this kind of overhand motion, you're really putting strain on that bone. Jerking off? Yeah.
That sounds like some clavicle right there,
If you're
man.
you can't pull your pud without putting strain on that bone.
You gotta think about that. Next time you're beating your meat, you know, I mean, you might be like, I don't give a fuck about collarbone shit, but it's like, if your collarbone wasn't there, you wouldn't be beating your meat, dude. You'd be fucking just trying to like, oh, I can't do it. I can't. Oh no. You all right, man?
You okay there,
TJ? You okay? Are you okay,
Yeah.
TJ? TJ, are you okay? Tell us you're okay. Are you all right, man?
Fine.
Humans are not the only animals with collarbones, by the way. The collarbone has been around since the dinosaurs. I think the next picture might even be a dinosaur, or maybe not. Yeah, there you go. Dinosaurs. Theropods like the velociraptor here, they had clavicles. So down at the bottom of that neck, because they've got those arms and shoulders, they had clavicle bones there.
Clavicles, TJ. Fuck, man.
But later on in the, you know, kind of evolution of dinosaurs, they fused together to form the furcula, which we would call a wishbone. We'll talk about wishbones later. We got a whole little, you know, insight on wishbones a little later. The wishbone might even provide scientific linkage between the anatomy of a turkey and that of a dinosaur. Located behind the turkey's neck and breast, this elastic bone is crucial for the bird's flight mechanics. It serves as a spring and holds and releases energy while the bird flaps its wings, attempting to fly. So I think the next picture might be, there's a turkey. And then
I don't give a fuck about that turkey.
Why not?
The turkey's gonna be on my fucking belly.
You're right. I mean, we're gonna talk about the whole ritual
fucking turkey
of breaking the wishbone, TJ, because I'm sure you've done it before, right? Have you ever broken a wishbone?
Yeah. I don't give a fuck about no wishbone.
You don't?
I think Paul. Yeah. Oh,
that shit.
Is this what you're talking about, Paul?
Yep, those are wishbones.
Enhance. Let me see the wishbones.
Which, as we know, are clavicles. They're bird collarbones.
Yeah, well, you know,
Collarbone of the bird.
Well, whatever.
They like if you were a bird, TJ. Your wishbone would be right here, right there, right in that zone. You see where I'm going? I know my beard's. It's right here, right here.
I really don't like when people touch that area.
Why not?
Of themselves.
Why don't you like that, TJ?
Well, I guess that you know, I don't know. You might not know this, Paul, but
no, what?
I injured my collarbone as a child, and ever since then, I've been a little weird about collarbones.
Is that what? Oh, TJ,
I am so. You might not have known that.
The time you were jumping on the trampoline, TJ.
Yeah,
you were. Fall.
What happened?
What happened? Yeah, what happened that day?
Like,
TJ?
take us through it second by second.
You know, I was getting like was it playing Crack the Egg or something? You know, you ever played Crack the Egg on a trampoline? You know what that is? You like?
I know. I've been on trampolines, but I don't know what Crack the Egg is.
You get in a little position like this. You like roll yourself into a ball, and other people bounce you up.
Oh yeah,
trying to get you to break. It's called Crack the Egg. Where I don't know. It might have been called something different, California or whatever. But I was doing that, and I landed weird, and something happened here. It was just pop that motherfucker. And it was fucked up. I had to be in a cast for a while. And ever since then, it healed weird. And I don't fucking like collarbones. I don't like discussion of collarbones. I don't like the existence. I guess I like the existence of collarbones, but
I mean, you were what, like 7 or 8?
I don't like to think about it. Yeah, I was like pretty young, I guess. Yeah, I was probably like
you were
8,
pretty young,
9,
you know.
8 or 9, something like that.
I wasn't even that bad though. Didn't they fuck that up? Didn't like the doctor say you were fine or something? But then you were actually like you needed like a fucking it wasn't. Oh, I remember what it was. Like, what happened?
It got fucked up. You know, got to go to.
Got fucked up. But I was like, they said like, I can't really put that in a cast. Obviously,
they took me to the fucking. They took me to a fucking ready med instead of like a real doctor. You know that shit?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Even though our family was rich, they took me to like the shitty poor people doctor.
They took you to Ready Med.
Yeah. And the Ready Med people was like, yeah, it's probably fine. Just put it in a sling. I'm pretty sure that motherfucker was broken, and I'm pretty sure it did not heal right. So,
You can
whatever.
get an X-ray, TJ. You could be like, you know what, Doc? My collarbone is really.
Yeah, I was
bothering
in
me."
a fucking sling for like 4 fucking weeks or whatever the fuck.
Well, TJ, I never would have picked this part of the body if I had
Yeah, I
known
know.
about your trauma, and
That's why I'm just trying to soldier through it because I know you never would have intended.
never,
create this
never in my
discomfort.
life would have pulled this had I known that you had a thing about it, TJ. But
Didn't know,
who
you know.
knows? Maybe exposure therapy will help you get over
Yeah, maybe.
your fear.
Now, I gotta say, the wishbone, even though it is a bird's collarbone, I'm not really finding the wishbone bothering me because something about the collarbone, it being like straight across here, like, oh god, even doing that, fucking.
Well,
really-
think about if I
Like-
grabbed your collarbone and used it like a wishbone and just
yeah,
Ooh,
snapped
yeah.
it, yeah.
see. That's what
Yeah.
Wish.
that's what I was thinking of when I was like, wow, we snap
yeah.
a bird's collarbone. It would be like, what if a giant bird came up and grabbed me here and dug its claws under my collarbone and then just went
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
wishbone.
Oh, dude, like pop out like here, but
Yep.
Yeah, that's wild.
yeah.
And then it would just leave your arms like flopping and you'd be like, I mean, it would be crazy.
I don't know if I would go like that.
TJ, let me ask you a question, dude.
Yeah, what's up?
If you put in a simulation and you had to relive like the 30 seconds since you broke your collarbone, but you get $1,000 each time, how many times
No.
would you do it?
I wouldn't do it. I would not do it at
What
all.
about
Give
$1
it
million?
100 times to be Okay, yeah. What about $1 million?
I mean, I'd probably do it a few times for $1 million. Sure.
Like for $1 million each time, you've got to
Yeah.
let me come in with a chisel and a hammer
Oh, okay. This is different. It's a
and
different scenario.
very deliberately tap, tap, tap slightly harder as I go until your collarbone breaks. And you get,
Oh no.
you'd never let you wouldn't even do that for $1 million, huh?
I don't know. I might do that once for $1 million. That sounds horrible.
Man,
don't know.
once
Why you do it.
once you come to that
Bullshit,
well,
dude.
you know you're going to be coming back for that little hammer again, TJ.
No,
Do the other
that's
one this
true.
time, Paul. I can't take it on that same side. I need that $1 million though. Dink, dink, dink.
I got so much debt. You gave me that $1 million. I ended up in $10 million debt. I have to do it 10 times.
So do you know the history of why we break the wishbone, TJ?
No, I don't.
So the history of breaking the wishbone bone goes back to the Etruscans,
Okay.
the ancient
Who are the
Italian
Etruscans?
civilizations.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Right.
Ancient Italians.
Yep. Whenever the Etruscans slaughtered a chicken, they would harvest its wishbone and set it out in the sun to dry, in hopes of preserving the chicken's divine power, I suppose.
Okay.
Passers-by would then pick up the bone in order to hold it in their hands or softly stroke it while making wishes upon it. This is where the wishbone gets its modern-day name. So it wasn't always snapped. It was more of like, hey, we had a chicken here.
Well, the wishbone tradition, I don't know. Basically, it's like you and another person grab the two sides of the bone.
Right.
You both make a wish. It's like a competition, kind of.
Right.
You pull on it, and whoever gets the end that has the longer, because like it has like a Y shape. So whichever one of the Y ends is going to keep the handle, basically, or the whatever.
Right. It's just going to, one side, you're going to get more bone than the other.
Yeah. So whoever has the longer bone.
So whichever
It's their
monster
wish.
grabs
Yeah.
the collarbone better and snaps it over, you know what I mean? It's going to get a bigger piece of the collarbone.
Yeah. It's like which one of us? Yeah, that sounds great. I love it. It's wonderful. What a wonderful, wonderful thought to think of.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
I had so much fun pulling for this, by the way. It was amazing.
So the weird thing that happens, and some shirts I can't even wear because of this. Like I'll wear, like a lot V-neck shirts I can't wear because the way they lay on my collarbone. But when I think about my collarbone, I really can't stand any fabric being on it. So right now, like the shirt I'm wearing,
Just
I don't
lay
even want
on
it touching me. But then my beard touches it, and then that's even fucking bad. So I don't know. There's just like no way to not have something touching there. So almost just want to compress it now.
Compress it?
Yeah.
Don't compress it too hard.
Yeah.
It's a very delicate bone, TJ. You wouldn't want to.
And that feels weird because you said that.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I know.
Well, whatever. Just gonna good deal with this. It's the fabric, I guess.
This fabric just lay on my collarbone.
Mm-hmm.
Feel it.
I feel awful about triggering this in you.
I know. It's gotta. I know you would never have intended.
You have like layers on your collarbone right now, TJ. Like me and Paul, we're wearing long sleeve shirts. I mean, you're like double layered on your collarbone. It seems.
That's
Plus
true.
your beard, triple layers.
Yeah, you've got like an extra
collarbone
shirt
can't
on your
breathe.
collarbone, which is probably.
Yeah, maybe I should just like.
Yeah, if you take
It is
that one
better,
off, will it
dude.
be better?
Maybe.
Or does that let you feel the
It
shirt
feels
more?
worse somehow. I don't know.
Now your
It's worse.
Dude, your collarbone now is vulnerable, TJ. Even more vulnerable. Walk around with plate armor on yourself, TJ, so you're protected.
Yeah.
So legend has it that Romans picked up on this early Etruscan superstition. However, chickens were scarce, and they were therefore, wishbones were scarce. People had to resort to cracking the bones in half so there would be enough to go around. So it's like they would take the collarbone and go and snap it in half, but it wasn't for like a competition. It was so there would be more collarbone to go around so they could make wishes on it.
Everyone can rub a collarbone.
The cracking tradition where two giant, disgusting lizard monsters grab you by your collarbone. But where two humans grab a wishbone and break it apart, wishing on it, and whoever gets the bigger piece was started by the Brits, of course, and carried over, to Plymouth Rock, and has kind of been an American thing since then. So what are the rules around cracking a wishbone? How do you make a wish on it? Typically, you don't dry the wishbone for a few days until it's brittle. Typically, you're supposed to dry the wishbone for a few days until it's brittle. And here you can see a human collarbone. No, never mind. That's just a large turkey collarbone. I'm sorry, TJ. I'm sorry.
Ooh, about to be snapped.
About to be pulled completely apart and decimated. So then two people take their fingers around each end. They make a wish and pull. Whoever ends up with a bigger piece, as TJ explained, gets their wish. And whoever doesn't end up with a bigger piece ends up with a broken collarbone, I think is the rules for that. You have to chop them on the collarbone and they break their wishbone.
Actually, the modern version, Paul, is the hammer and the...
Oh, yeah, the little iron hammer and the little chisel. So here's some wishbone winning tips. If you want to win more wishbone, it's actually a game that you can fucking kind of weight towards yourself. You can get your wish more. So I'll fill you in. You don't want to go in with sweaty post-Thanksgiving food coma hands. You want to make sure you got dry hands going into this. So if you're like me, like I have a naturally, like not super sweaty, but my hands will get damp. I got clammy hands sometimes. You really got to make sure your hands are dry. So maybe some baby powder on the hands before you go into it will give you an edge, because who has better grip on the wishbone is typically the one that gets the bigger piece of the wishbone. You got to place your hand properly. You're going to want to grab the wishbone between your thumb and your forefinger and as close to the center joint as your opponent will let you get it. Because if you grab it at the bottom of the wishbone, like this area right here, and pull and yank on it, it's going to really want to snap a whole lot easier and just give you a little piece of collarbone. Wishbone. Whereas if you grab it more towards the meaty part right here in the center of the wishbone, you're going to get a big wrenching rip snap of that.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. Just two giant, horrible lizard monsters. Imagine picking up a human, Paul, and they've got the human. They got one side, they got the other side, and they go.
Yep. Make a wish.
Especially if it would be like a 6'5" dude that lives in Louisiana. has like.
Well, I mean,
hair.
that would be a midget to the giant lizard monsters.
I mean,
of course
it would be, but just somewhere around that height. It goes by like a nickname, something like that. I don't know. I don't know where we're getting this character from.
What the fucking? It's a very specific thing.
I mean, whatever. I mean, Scotty's a creative guy. The juices are flowing.
There's a striking resemblance to people.
Vanity published some books and stuff.
Yeah.
Has a long beard, shaved his head recently.
Yeah.
Maybe grown his hair.
That wasn't
back
that
out
recently.
again.
That was like at the beginning of 2020, Scotty.
I mean, like TJ, I'm like, we'll see. That bears no resemblance to anyone we know. Then great.
Exactly. Any resemblance,
to any person living
to a person
is purely coincidental.
Yes.
Okay. Dope. Awesome. Love it.
Nothing to do with anyone I know. I've never met anyone like this. Just saying, that's the person I just kind of had in my mind.
To be honest with you, I kind of thought you were describing me until I heard that he shaved his head recently, and I was like, "Well, I shaved my head a little while ago."
There you
so
go. Yeah.
obviously, I mean, like I've grown a good bit of hair back and stuff, so that was a while back.
Yeah, at the studio in a converted garage.
Yeah, I mean that sounds like me,
Married
but
woman
like
named Selshi. Yeah.
oh, see, I'm my wife's name is Chelsea.
Has 3 cats and 2 dogs.
I only have 2 cats and 1 dog.
Yeah,
So
I mean, there you go. Yeah, it's
Any
nice.
resemblance to a person
totally
living or
fictional
dead.
character that has no resemblance to me because
Yep.
I'm living or dead.
Yep.
So once again, you want to get high. You want to get as high up towards the center meaty part of the wishbone as you can if you want to win the wishbone. Okay.
Yeah.
Leverage is very important when you want to crack a collarbone real good and nice and get that nice snap. You want to hold obviously this may sound obvious, but you want to hold the wishbone in your dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, you want to grab, with your right hand. Now you may want to try and use this to your advantage. If you know what your opponent's dominant hand is, you can try and set it up in such a way like, hey, want to do the wishbone? And then you put it in their left hand. You know what I mean? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you've got the leverage advantage. Endurance. Breaking the wishbone sometimes takes more than just an instantaneous yank. Now, I've told you that they're very delicate little bones, but sometimes you really got to wrench on them to get them to snap. Snap! Snap, motherfucker! So you got to be prepared for the long haul.
No, I gotta be honest with you. I've never encountered a wishbone that was that hard to snap. I guess
They exist.
Yep.
I mean, I guess if they're not properly dried out. Maybe.
It's true. Like a lot of times on Thanksgiving Day, people do this. That wishbone ain't had time to dry out. You know what I mean? If you're doing the whole ass turkey, it's still pretty springy. Like if you press on yours, you can feel how it's a little springy in there.
No, that's okay.
On your muscles. Yeah. You can feel how the bone gives a little bit. Ooh, I don't want to push too hard there on the curved part of it because that's right.
Man, you don't want to. What could happen, dude?
I mean, I didn't even want to think about it, and I really don't want to trigger TJ anymore.
Paul, I can't hold back the surprise. We've actually have a masseuse. We were like to offer to you. I know it's COVID and stuff, so I mean, if you don't want to refuse, okay. A collarbone massage, I've heard that's very therapeutic. Can really help people relieve a lot of tension and stress in lives. I think you could maybe get over your little phobia you have here. Look, TJ, I'm doing this right now. I'm rubbing my collarbone. Nothing's happening to me. TJ, am I dying, TJ? Am I getting hurt? I'm fine. Look, I'm fine. Rub it, TJ. Just rub your collarbone.
You want me to do that?
Yeah. Why not? TJ, this is gonna be good for you. Rub your collarbone.
Give it a little massage, man.
Like 30 years ago, it almost
learn to love your collarbone. Learn to love it, TJ. It's here for you.
It's ancient history, man.
It's here for
you.
you.
Accept now that your collarbone loves you, and it's helped you so many times, TJ.
How many times have you raised your arm? How many times have you held out your arms to hug your beautiful wife, Chelsea? Your collarbone enabled that, TJ. Without the collarbone, like I said, you'd just have floppy. You wouldn't be able to wrap your arms around your wife.
So just love your collarbone.
Love your collarbone.
Oh, I love it. Oh, look. Oh, it feels good. Collarbone massage, dude. Oh, yeah, get deep in those collarbones right there. Oh, it feels.
Get underneath them.
Tension just melt away from me, TJ. It feels great now. You feeling great, TJ?
Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad this episode has been informative to you and has made you feel better about this condition.
I mean, me too. Let's talk about the elephant in the room here, TJ. Like I said, I had no idea that you were, you know, I feel bad about this, but we must soldier forward. Collarbone injury.
Ow.
Collarbone injuries, pretty fucking common, honestly. The clavicle is the most commonly fractured bone in sports, especially football. It's very, very easy, apparently, to fracture your clavicle. This is actually a picture of a horrible injury that happened in a Cowboys-Jaguars game. I can't remember the name of the guy, but during this tackle here, he was basically crushed underneath this tackling guy and absolutely shattered that right collarbone.
Is, Tony Romo.
Yeah, Tony Romo. Yeah. So he took a very, very tough, almost career-ending clavicle injury on this tackle. So you might need the luck of the wishbone if you like to get the full Thanksgiving spirit and play football. The clavicle is the most commonly fractured bone. Babies sometimes break their collarbones during the birthing process. This is an interesting thing. I did not know. Wow. The collarbone is easily fractured due to impacts to the shoulder from the force of falling on outstretched arms. So like if you know that instinct that you have to like brace yourself if you fall.
Yeah.
I mean, super easy to catch yourself like that and snap, you know. Tony Romo, Cowboys quarterback, ended up breaking his collarbone twice in one season. Owner and general manager Jerry Jones said Romo suffered 6 or 7 breaks in the collarbone from the first hit. Ooh. That's a shattered collarbone there. To make matters worse, those injuries were after breaking that same collarbone in 2010. So he's basically got he's probably got like a metal bar instead of a collarbone. Would that make you feel better, TJ, if there was like a transhumanist surgery that you could get where they knock you out and then you've got like a titanium collarbone that you know that like can't even be damaged? Do you think you would still have the same kind of like feeling about it?
I mean, I feel like I would be reluctant to get that surgery, but at the same time, I was pretty reluctant to get eye surgery, and I still did that. So I guess I'd probably do it.
Yeah,
because then it'd be like a load off my mind, I guess. Big titanium collarbones, clavicle, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, that clavicle, man. There's an extremely rare case of a stress fracture on a clavicle. A 10-year-old gymnast, this is a picture of that, ended up breaking her clavicle, not from a fall, but from just normal gymnastics routine. Few cases have been reported beyond her, a diver, and a javelin thrower. So these are pretty rare injuries outside of football. Very common injuries inside of football. Recent case was race car driver Shane Van Gisbergen broke his collarbone while mountain bike riding. He needed screws, but was able to get back on the track after only a couple of weeks. It's not even that bad of a break, TJ. This dude needed screws in his clavicle, and he was back on.
Yeah, he's back in the saddle, dude.
Back in the saddle again. Out where a friend is a friend.
All right, TJ, we're gonna have we have a drill here. Your clavicle break isn't pretty severe this time. If you've broken your clavicle before, we're gonna have to put a couple screws in. TJ, don't worry, you're gonna feel intense pressure and a drilling sound.
So I think there's an article. I think there's an article next about a woman that had a very, very bad clavicle injury. She was trampled by a herd of cows. So
do you want to play the story or just read it?
I've got it up here. A woman suffered life-changing injuries after being attacked by a herd of cows. She's raising awareness of the potential dangers of walking near them, especially with dogs. Her name is Pip Peacock. That's a pretty cool name. Pretty cool name.
I like
Bakewell in Derbyshire. Was watching
Bakewell.
Yeah, dude, Pip Peacock from Bakewell. Is this a real one?
This doesn't even sound real. It sounds like something from like a Neil Gaiman book or something.
Yeah, it's legit. Yeah, it's legit. 63-year-old woman suffered 34 breaks in her ribs, a broken collarbone, broken shoulder ligaments, and a broken finger, as well as serious wounds to her left and right knee. So this is you okay there, TJ? This is just a recent example of some collarbone news, I guess, that I could find. Sometimes all that's required is an arm sling for the healing process on a clavicle.
Yeah.
But here we see one opened up, and
that's no good.
Yeah, that is really no good.
Oh man. That's like
it's like a chain running over. It's like, okay, yeah. So this thing was like shattered basically.
Yeah, they're basically having to reconstruct it with screws, metal plates, wires, and pins. It's called fixation. You have to realign the broken pieces. That's called reduction. So you take the broken pieces, all of them that you can find, and you realign them all, and then you secure those pieces together, like I said, with screws, metal plates, wires, pins. As you can see in the picture, there's the word yes written on the shoulder to ensure the right one is being opened up and screwed together. They often do this to surgical patients to make sure that they don't operate accidentally on the wrong, place.
Of course.
That's not the limit of clavicle surgery, though. After the bone is healed, the wound must be reopened and the plates, screws, etc. removed from the clavicle. So you break that fucking thing bad enough, and they got to go in twice on you, which is screws in, screws out,
That chain right there, to you, right along the bone. You see like that incision. I mean, so the worst case scenario, what they're doing to you.
Man, horrible to think about. Wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Piercing. Let's talk a little bit about piercing here.
Piercing?
Oh, yeah. People pierce their clavicles all the time. It's actually a body mod kind of staple.
Since what? No.
So a clavicle piercing is a type of surface body piercing performed on the collarbone area. There are generally considered to be two types of clavicle piercings.
Oh, God, no.
One of which is body jewelry is pierced through the skin of the collarbone area. That's like a dermal. And one where the jewelry is passed below the collarbone itself, leaving visible studs above and below the bone. This is known as subclavicle piercing and is considered very dangerous because it usually penetrates into the muscle and leaves the wearer prone to nerve damage and systemic infection. So it's probably pretty hard to find somebody that'll do this type of collarbone piercing for you. But yeah, it's you'll find it. The safer surface piercing method of piercing the clavicles should be done with either barbells or dermal piercings. Dermal piercings have an anchor underneath the skin. This is a woman that has dermals. I don't know if you know this, but Amelia actually has these piercings. She's got dermal piercings. Well, she doesn't wear them anymore, but she had these dermal piercings for a long time. So dermal piercings have an anchor underneath the skin and as such cannot be removed without the help of a body piercer. Dermals have a high risk of infection, especially in areas with thinner skin. So it's not ideal. Not really recommended, but can be done. Safer definitely than the subclavicle style of piercing. My wife actually did this several years ago. As I was saying, this is Amelia with her dermal in. She describes them as extremely painful to get and very difficult to take care of. Hers rejected over several months, with those most rejected being the easiest and least painful to remove. Fun while they lasted, but ultimately a waste of about $100 is what she had to say about them.
Damn. That fucking blows, dude. You have to get that in. And it's like, okay, I'm going to get these, but right by the collarbone, TJ, as you can see. And
right there,
to infection. Ooh,
yeah.
TJ, maybe the best way to overcome your fear, TJ, is to face fear. Look it right in the eye. Look it right collarbone to collarbone. And get a dermal implant right here. And say you're not afraid, TJ. Tell that fucking collarbone, TJ, that you're in charge. The collarbone doesn't run you, TJ. You run that collarbone.
I mean, it's only $100 to get it done too. I mean, come on.
I don't want it.
Right
I don't fucking want it.
I'll gladly supply the $100 to you.
No,
I can do that right now.
Find you a good body piercer, TJ. The best in the world. We'll get you some dermals. Come on.
No, thanks.
No? You don't want them?
No.
Well, the last thing I've got today before I end TJ's suffering and hopefully teach him the lesson that he needed to learn. Because, I mean, I'm telling you, I just scratched the surface of the collarbone. The collarbone is now being called the beauty bone by some people. It is a rising standard of beauty. Gross. I actually had a girlfriend once, and this is not joking, who was really into my collarbones. I guess I got she loved the way that my collarbones felt and stuck out, and she would touch them a lot. That's not a joke. She liked my collarbones. No. And so this is a rising kind of beauty standard in the world, having prominent, visible, displayed collarbones. So, there's actually a subreddit called Our Collarbone, TJ, for sexy collarbones. This was pulled from that. So you might want to go over there on your Reddit.
No. Collarbones, no.
No?
I like non-obtrusive collarbones that are deep inside with
maybe you could become a collarbone model. That's another way you can get over it.
I don't want it.
Oh, this TJ's collarbone, his left collarbone presented there. No,
I don't even know if my collarbones jut out or not. That's how fucking collarbone blind I've made myself.
You should check. You should see if they're hanging out there real far, because if they are, you want to be extra careful. You know what I mean? The more prominent they are, the more. You got to get a look.
Right
I see them.
Stick out at all? No, they don't really stick out.
They don't stick out, but I can see the line where they are.
Yeah, that's gross. I can see it too. That's fucking gross.
Yeah. Well, that's what I got today. Little sound effects, little collarbone. If you liked this episode or either of these topics,
the first half a lot. The first half was fun.
Yeah, if you liked either of these topics, either tell me to make another one in the case of the sound effects episode, or make another fucking episode where I have to suffer if you're TJ, if you want the collarbones part 2. Hope you guys had fun with it. Enjoyed it.
Oh, I loved it, dude. Great episode.
You didn't like it, TJ?
I thought it was started strong. It finished real weak, real bad.
I have to disagree with you on that one, too.
I don't think the audience is gonna like that.
Started strong, finished even stronger. Great episode, terrific episode, tremendous episode. One of my favorite episodes of all time.
I got to agree. The energy felt great.
No, it's terrible energy. It's fucking horrible. Really bad.
Deep bad pride. Deep bad pride. Deep bad pride. Deep bad pride.